I never thought I would be saying that Portugal were the champions of Euro 2016, but that is in fact the case. Jersey Joe Archino back here with the Sports Fault, and I think the biggest gut reaction that I had off the victory for Portugal was I was stunned that France lost, but I wasn't stunned or surprised by how they lost. I think it was a very easy match to read, and I think the thing that first off needs to get addressed is people really need to back off the criticism of Portugal and the way that they won and the way that they played in this tournament. Now, I didn't have them winning this thing. I thought that the longer that they kept on going, the more vulnerable that they would show themselves to be, because they didn't win a game in the group stage of this match. But they continued to pave their own way, and they found ways to win, and winning is winning. And at the end of the day, if you're standing up holding the trophy, who cares how you did it? And was it the most exciting way? No, not on the eyes. But again, it's one of those things, I don't care how you do it as long as you get it done. If it's within the rules and it's within the ethics of the game, go ahead and do it. And I don't think that Portugal by any means betrayed any of those things. They had to play a certain way to win, and they did. And if you don't like the way that they played, you should have found a way to beat it. And I think that's one of the biggest things is you go up and down the different nations in Euro 2016, the managers for all these sides, and I don't really know if one could stand out among anyone else. Certainly the top managers in the world are absent from this competition, but I think first and foremost, the amount of criticism given to Portugal is just not fair. If you don't like it, stop it. If you can't, then you can't really complain about anything. And France, certainly, it was one of those they had plenty of opportunities in that match. They couldn't get it done. And I think the guy who deserves probably the most criticism from France is Paul Pogba. Pogba's a 23-year-old, has tremendous talent, but I think he really came down and showed us all really what he isn't yet. He is a very good player in the world, but he is not a transcendent, world-class, game-changing player. This tournament should have been his. He could have been and should have been the face of Euro 2016. Host nation, 23-year-old on the rise, and he didn't. He just was not a visible asset to France. He was not a game changer. Griezmann had an incredible tournament. We all know how good he was. Payet was incredible in this tournament. Olivier Giroud had a lot of bright moments. But Paul Pogba, you can't even count the moments for him. He was just visibly absent from so many of these matches, and it comes to a point now where kind of the off-season summer talk, he's always a guy whose name is linked to big clubs with a transfer, but it seems like the stories today are that Juventus are keen on keeping him and he's keen on staying there. And after the Man United and Real Madrid links of $100 million transfer fee, I certainly think that Paul Pogba made a lot of people re-question how good they think he is from his play in this tournament, because he was not a difference maker. And for a player like him, who we all think should be like he is, he just did not show up and did not have the level of caliber he should have had in a tournament like this. And now it's up to him to go out there and show us all again why so many of us did consider him one of the world game-changing players. But based on Euro 2016, I really am not so sure anymore, and I need to see it from him. And no matter where he ends up, if he stays with Juventus, if Man United somehow want to finish this deal, and Juve is keen on doing it as well, but I do think he stays put in Juventus, and it's all up to him to regain the world's trust. But you look at Portugal. Obviously, when Ronaldo went out in that match in the early first half, it changed the concept of the game, and that's one of the reasons, too, why the criticism is just not fair on Portugal's end. Portugal had to play that way. Without Ronaldo, their really only threat offensively, they had to play that way. They played the way they had to, and they were rewarded because they won playing that way. They kept getting more and more chances, and towards the end of the match, they certainly got more brave, and I think because they started getting closer and their attack was getting better, and each time they got a good quality look on the net, it came closer and closer to going in, and Hugo Lloris, France's goalkeeper, just at the end, Eder, we all know what happened, 109th minute, he's able to find the back of the net, and Portugal walks off as champions. But Really, to me, if you listened to my stuff before, you'd known that I kept on saying I just thought the road was going to come to an end. And look, I was wrong. I really was. It's one of those things where Portugal had the easiest path to the final, but they were making it look easy, and I think that's probably the biggest reason I didn't have them here. But everyone had France winning this game. I think Alejandro Moreno basically said it best. It's France's match to lose, and basically it was France's match to lose, and they found a way to lose it. And it was kind of interesting because early in this tournament, France did not score a goal in the first half of matches, and I kept on thinking and worrying a little bit. But then against Iceland, I think they really found their stride. They found their confidence. They scored a bunch of goals early, and they just really routed them in that one. Then against Germany, they're able to find a way to get it done again. And then they have the matchup in the final against Portugal, and they just ran out of it. And I don't know at times how unified this French team was. I think, look, they had so much to play for. The whole implications around this tournament were just different because of the events of November 13th and the Paris terrorist attacks. And being unified and bonded by that, obviously the players had that. But I think early in this tournament when René Deschamps kind of was mix and matching the lineups and doing some different things, that didn't create the best bond. But it should have been enough for France for what they were playing for. The host nation, this meant more than just playing a game for European supremacy. This meant getting some kind of revenge, some kind of vengeance for what happened that day. Because remember, they were playing while the attack was happening, and I think that's going to be firmly implanted in the minds of the French players forever. But this was certainly an opportunity to help ease the pain of that day. A game can never change what happened. It can never and will never be enough to avenge what happened, but it can help. And obviously that's, I think, one of the biggest disappointing things why France wasn't able to get it done, because it would have meant a tremendous amount based on what happened on November 13th. But look, people want to criticize Portugal, but they got it done, and now Cristiano Ronaldo is able to add that nice trophy to his repertoire, which has eluded him for so long. And it's funny and it's fitting at the same time that Ronaldo wasn't on the pitch really to be a big contributor to winning this trophy, but he had carried Portugal football for so long. He had been really the only semblance of a star that they have had, and now it's finally his team who helped him, back him up. And apparently he gave a really empowering speech at halftime. And for a lot of people who do criticize Ronaldo, and I think sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not, he really showed that leadership that you have to love. I think at Real Madrid sometimes his complex and his identity changes, and he's more of the star in it for himself, because that's club, that's money, that's about money, and it's not about your country. When it's for your country, you put some of that ego aside, and I think Ronaldo is a very good example of that, where when he's playing for Real Madrid, he's in it for the glory, he's in it for the fame, he's in it for the luster and the power. But when he's doing it for his country, he will do whatever it takes. It's about leadership, it's about getting other people chances. I think he was a much more willing passer to create opportunities for other people in this tournament than he sometimes is at Real Madrid. And sometimes that's what you need to do. It's a different world when you're playing for your country than it is when you're playing for your club. It just means more. And certainly for Ronaldo, it's very well warranted that he gets this one, because when you're a Messi and when you're a Ronaldo, I think that's why we all want to see Messi win one with Argentina so bad, is because he has been brilliant like he always is. But sometimes the other pieces don't come together and don't help you out. Messi didn't get it done for his side. He was one of the reasons when he missed that penalty kick. But last season in the Copa America final, Messi was there and his teammates didn't back him up. This year, Messi had some struggles, but he played very well along the way. And again, he was failed by Argentina football. But Ronaldo finally gets that trophy, and it's very well deserved. But until next time, Jersey Joe Archino here at the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll see everybody next time.